Good afternoon, everyone. Today's presentation, we're going to present about business in UAE. And my name is Mohammed Al Hawa, and my friends are Sajil Ahmed and MD Ibrahim Ahmed, and we all will present this presentation. So we got first slide is about religion and business and how it impacts business in the UAE. So the main religion has a huge impact on business in the UAE, unlike here in Canada, and their work week differs. So their work week is from Sunday to Thursday, with Friday prayer in it, because Friday is an important day for Muslims, and they have that day off. So their work week is Sunday to Thursday. Differs from here, which is here from Monday to Friday, while Sunday being like the important day in the weekend and whatnot. Also, Ramadan adjusts work hours. So, for example, the work hours will be reduced because of fasting, and non-Muslims are expected to avoid public eating and drinking in the majority of the areas. And that is religion effect on business. While here in Canada, religion barely has any impact or effect on business. And meetings also could be scheduled around prayer times, as if respect to the prayers. While here, this kind of doesn't exist. I mean, workplaces here do support religious inclusivity, but they do not adjust schedules. I mean, with some maybe rarely you can if you talk with your supervisor and whatnot, but the majority of the time they cannot really they can do so much. Religion also strongly shapes workplace and culture and expectations, as well as ethics, which I will be also talking about in the next slide. So ethical standards are government enforced heavily in the UAE. Here they are more by the company, it's more company based. Example is also CSR as well. So religious values also shape etiquettes and ethics, especially gender interactions. For example, over there is physical contact and prolonged eye contact with the opposite gender is discouraged, and is disrespectful sometimes, could be misinterpreted and is not encouraged. While here in Canada, ethical standards focus on corporate responsibility rather than the government, and that is also another difference from here and the UAE. And here gender interactions are pretty normal and common, unless it's oblivious and could be obvious with the other gender. And my last slide is nonverbal communication and the difference between here and Canada. So the nonverbal communication over there is excessive physical touch between opposite genders, again, is discouraged. And even though on the other hand, same gender physical touch or even excessive one is friendly and is could be out of respect and all that, and close friendship, that's what it means. Excessive animated greetings and casual invitations might also be misinterpreted, especially between opposite genders, and could be a sign of disrespect other than difference from here. And also there is a fun fact is to avoid pointing and showing the sole of a shoe, which in the UAE is very it's one of the most disrespectful things to do. They see it as a huge sign of disrespect, as if you don't respect the workplace or the person sitting beside you or in front of you or anything. So yeah, or also using the left hand for dealing with it. And again, it's this also comes from religion, by the way, because in Islam is to use your right hand for the majority of the things is encouraged, and not using your left hand. So while here in Canada, handshakes are standard and pretty much common and expected, doesn't matter what sex you are or what is your gender. And casual gestures are widely accepted and is accepted more. Eye contact also means confidence and honesty over here in Canada, and it does not mean disrespect, even if it's between the other gender. So yes, I'll be giving it now to MD Ibrahim Ahmed. You may start.
Thank you, Muhammad. Hello, everyone. So now I'll talk about meeting etiquette and business communication. Let's start with business communication. In the UAE, Arabic is the official language, but English is widely used in business. However, the way people communicate is different from Canada. In the UAE, conversations are often indirect. For example, people may say no directly because it could be seen as rude. Instead, they might say inshallah, which means if God wills. This can sometimes mean maybe or even no. In Canada, communication is much more direct. If someone disagrees, they will usually express it clearly but politely. Canadians value honesty and transparency in business discussion. Now let's talk about meeting etiquette. In UAE, business meetings usually begins with small talk. People might ask you your family or well-being before discussing business. This helps build trust, which is very important in UAE culture. In Canada, small talk also happens, but meetings are usually more structured and get to the point faster. Moving to next slide, conflict resolution. Um, in the UAE, direct confrontation is avoided. If there is any disagreement, people try to resolve it politely and through discussion. Business conflicts are often solved through mediation, where a neutral person helps both sides find a solution. The goal is to maintain a relationship and avoid embarrassment. Losing your temper or arguing can damage your reputation. In Canada, resolving conflicts is more structured and formal. Companies often have HR policies and legal procedure to handle disputes. Canadian value direct and open communication. So employees and business partners are encouraged to express concerns while politeness is important, being honest and disagreements is accepted. And moving to next slide, it's corporate social responsibility. In UAE, CSR focuses on giving back to community. Many companies supports education, healthcare, and charity projects. For example, Dubai Cares is a major initiative that provides education for children in needs. Businesses are also expected to follow Islamic values such as fairness and generosity. In Canada, CSR also plays a big role, but with more focus on environmental sustainability, many companies invest in reducing carbon emission and promoting diversity and inclusion in workplace. So now I would like to invite Sajil to talk more.
Oh, you are muted, Sajil.
Good afternoon, guys. So today I'll be discussing more key aspects of doing business in the UAE, which will focus on stereotypes, how to build credibility and recommendations for Canadian executives as well. We'll be understanding these factors is essential for successfully navigating the UAE's business environment. So before entering a new market, it's important to kind of separate misconceptions that are far from reality or that are just talked about amongst individuals on a daily basis or social media. Many stereotypes do exist about the UAE, and believing them can awfully negatively impact them, even business interactions. Firstly, like one of the major ones is the UAE is only about oil. All they care about is the oil. Oil was crucial in the past, but now we have diversified, and today the UAE has a highly diversified economy, like major industries like finance, real estate, even tourism and technology. Secondly, another stereotype that's very common is women have no role in business or women in business are frowned upon. This is a misconception as well. The UAE actively supports women in leadership, and many do hold executive positions in government as well as private sectors as well. Third of all, business is done quickly. Unlike Western countries in Canada, other Western countries around the world, business in the UAE prioritizes relationships, like building relationships. So negotiations and decision making can take time. There's no rush in making those decisions. Like here, it's always go, 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 make that decision, get it over with, and move on to the next. There, it's a little like in the UAE, it's a little more relaxed. Take your time to make the decision, think about it, and make more wiser decisions that are backed by a lot more, per se, like proof or reasoning. Lastly, bribery is common. That's also a very big common misconception or stereotype that is well heard about. But in reality, the UAE actually enforces strict anti-corruption laws. Unethical business practices can lead to several legal consequences there, actually. So that being said, it is quite the misconception, and all four of these, amongst many more stereotypes out there, these are the four major ones we want to touch base upon and express. Recognizing these misconceptions, it really does help Canadian executives approach business with the right mindset as opposed to being told all these stereotypes and having to speak or having that thought in your mind before getting into business with someone from the UAE or partnering up with them. Now we'll move on to the next slide, which is ways to build credibility in the UAE business. So credibility and trust are essential in the UAE, where business is highly relationship driven. Here's how Canadians can establish themselves as reliable partners, we would say. By respecting a hierarchy, the UAE business culture is a hierarchical with senior executives making the final decisions. Using proper titles and showing respect is very important to them. So whether it's your manager, your supervisor, as long as they are of more power than you, they are to be respected in that manner. Next, committing to long-term partnerships. When we think about that, short-term deals are very uncommon in the UAE. Companies that demonstrate long-term commitment, they gain a lot more trust in the UAE as opposed to the ones that don't. It is a lot more credible in their eyes and in their businesses. Honoring culture norms, following dress codes, greeting customs, and hospitality traditions, like it demonstrate professionalism and respect. Like my partner here, MD, said, saying inshallah or greeting of the hands with the greeting an individual with your right hand, the eye contact, all those things come into play. And then complying with the UAE laws, we have to understand the country's regulations, contract laws, and financial rules as well. It is necessary for credibility. So, in order to follow or by following these strategies, Canadian executives can absolutely successfully integrate into UAE business culture. I don't see any problem in that. Now we'll move on to the next slide here, which are recommendations we've come up with for business success. To further improve business interactions in the UAE, some of the recommendations we have is investing in cultural learning for employees. So that means understanding the Emirati customs and communication styles. It does help avoid misunderstandings in the future or even in the beginning. It does help understand what the norms are. It gets people out of their shell or out of their little bubble that they've only known or heard of a specific culture or not many. It broadens that knowledge that they have. It helps them understand that there's more around them or there's more opportunities this way by learning and having these training sessions for employees. Leveraging local partnerships. So by working with UAE-based companies, it does provide insights into regulations and market dynamics. It helps you kind of get a grasp on how things operate there, what can and cannot be done, or how it's beneficial to anyone and everyone. And then we look at being patient and flexible during business dealings. So business negotiations, if we think about it, they should take time and they do take time. And adaptability is key. So being patient, waiting, and being a little more flexible in understanding that it may take time is very important. And then if we look at understanding like the Islamic business practices, familiarity with like the Sharia laws, finance is beneficial when dealing with Emirati banks and investors because there are some differences that they have. It is something that you want to kind of know what you're getting into and how the Sharia law is a little different from the Western laws, or every country has its own laws. Like these are very like crucial to understand and to learn about doing business with an Emirati or with someone from the UAE. And then lastly, prioritizing relationship building. Trust is the foundation of business in the UAE. So developing a strong professional relationship before negotiating deals is crucial. So that means like instead of when you're first meeting someone or you're at a gathering, diving right into a business conversation or trying to approach them with just a business conversation is kind of frowned upon. It's building that personal relationship first, getting to know the person a little bit, asking them how they're doing, how their day's been going, any any sort of small talk you can even say, and that does assist in building that relationship and building that bond with that person or that business, which can then lead to a more successful business. So, in our opinion here, by following these recommendations, a Canadian executive can build a long-lasting, successful business relationship in the UAE if we follow these recommendations.
Yeah. And yeah, lastly, Canadian presence in the UAE. So Canadian presence in the UAE, there is already a Canadian Business Council, which is a council for relationships and all that, like with all businesses between the UAE and Canada. So Canadian executives could there's pretty much good relations between Canada and the UAE. And there is also tons of individually owned businesses in the UAE. Other than that is like immigrants who got the Canadian citizenships, that got like from here, they already like also do businesses there in the UAE. And I know like some friends in real life that do that, like Syrians that do that and like come here in the summer to like for vacation and whatnot. And there is available opportunities for any like Canadian who would like to do business in the UAE. And that is pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for listening to and watching the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where do I? Okay.